McFarland, live with Kronda.
Hi.
How you doing, Kronda?
Good.
All right.
Fancy name thing going
Got the
on.
fancy name thing, both of our fancy
Legit.
names. I know. That's so cool. So, what do we want to talk about? We're going to do
What
all
did I
of
say? I said marketing, tech, and puppies.
marketing, tech, and puppies.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the thing that I've been on the last 2 days is talking about sales, actually. How do you
Yeah.
feel about selling?
I mean, I feel like we should talk about selling.
Okay. Like, do you like it?
No.
No? Yeah. Okay. So that generally seems to be the consensus that people don't like selling. Why?
Why don't I like selling?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It's just not fun.
Maybe you're not doing it right.
Well, I mean, I think that that's
So I've posted in a couple of different groups because I don't have any special aversion to selling, but I I've been studying sales a lot. My coaches are excellent salespeople, um, and the way I think about sales has really changed. Um, and so I think what people have an aversion to is what they think of as sales or bad sales, like which is what predominates in the marketplace. You know, everybody thinks of like car salespeople
yeah,
and like
exactly.
being sold to, which nobody likes. And yet, like we love to buy stuff. Like I
We
don't know
love
about
to
you.
buy. I love to. Oh
I
my
love
God,
to
I love
buy
to buy
stuff,
stuff.
right? I have these onion goggles, and they make me so happy. Like I whenever we're cooking, I'm like, safety first. And I go and get my onion goggles and I make Jess have like a serious conversation with me while I wear these ridiculous. I should have brought them. But so I think it's
Did
not.
you post a picture not too long ago wearing those?
Probably.
Yeah, I
I
liked
probably
that.
sent them out. Yeah, I probably did a post with the onion goggles. And so the thing about selling is when you need something, like we like to buy stuff. So if we have something that people need, why is it so hard to sell it?
Exactly. And if you know that you know what you're doing,
Yeah,
which you do, and I do,
exactly.
why can't we make an aligned sales
Yeah.
pitch or
So,
talk?
so here's my thing. So here's what the cliff notes of what I posted the other day, which is the if you want to feel good about sales, it starts with having like a really great offer. Like you should feel ideally about your offer the way you would feel about selling water to someone like in the middle of the desert. Like you wouldn't feel bad about that, right? You'd be like, here, have some water. So if you're like, ooh, I don't, it feels icky. Like maybe you need a better offer. Maybe you need to solve a bigger problem, right? Because
Right.
I have my training calls on Wednesdays. So yesterday I was in with my clients, and every week it's like my favorite day of the week because I get to feel smart. Because they come in and they have all these questions, and I have answers for them, and and then they post their wins. Like today, people are posting wins right and left, and I'm like, that's like cool. I got to help people like break through some of their stuff and make progress in their business. So I don't have any compunction whatsoever about if I feel like I can help somebody saying like, yep, I can totally help you, and here's what it costs.
So, what do you see among your clients then that is gets them stuck, or why is it that they have trouble with that? What do you think?
It's really about knowing how to value what you do. So it might be that your offer sucks, but that's usually not the case with the people I deal with. Sometimes it needs to be repackaged or reconfigured, but usually it's like a mindset thing. It's like really learning how to value what you do because oftentimes it's so easy for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, we can go in, we can tinker with WordPress all day long, or I can write all day long, or whatever it is, where it's just like, that's so easy. Like, why would somebody pay me to do that? It's so easy because it's hard for them.
Yeah.
Because they would rather like stick a pencil in their eye than do that thing. Like, there's just stuff, and so you have to learn to look at what you do from the viewpoint of the marketplace and understand that it's super valuable to be able to like put up a landing page for someone in an hour when it would have taken them days.
Days or weeks.
Yeah.
Depends. Yeah.
So
it's. I know you're probably gonna like think this is weird or whatever, but I would say it was only within the last like year or so that I realized that I experience the world differently than other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
even though I'm aware that like other people like the other way was true, but like I think that speaks to your point, right? Like I'm experiencing the world in one way and it makes certain things super easy for me.
Yeah.
So then it stands to reason that I have something good to offer because not everybody is seeing what I'm seeing.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing is, you know, you have to find the right people, right? You don't want to sell down jackets in Arizona. Those aren't your people.
Unless it's Thanksgiving, in which case we're all freezing. I lived in Arizona for 5 years, so. But it's a very brief period when down jackets are going.
But mostly not.
Right.
And so you have to have your offer. You have to find the right people. And I think what most people do is they don't have enough volume, and so they're really invested in the few people that they have access to, and it, like, every person they talk to means so much because they're like, oh, I have to, you know, like, I need this sale. And so when you have opportunity volume, then it's just about finding the right people. And if it's not the right people, then you move on. And that's where you remove the pressure, right? And then in terms of figuring out, is it a good fit, like, all you really have to do when you're selling is show somebody that the cost of doing nothing is higher than the cost of whatever you're asking them to solve their problem.
Yeah, and that was one of my favorite moments from the podcast, is when you talked about the opportunity cost of not surrounding yourself with good people to help you.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when you do that, then it's like, if I'm on a strategy call with someone, I'm mostly asking questions, and I'm mostly guiding them through a process where, you know, where are they now? Where do they want to be? What is that gap? Like, why can't they get there on their own? Because that's why we're talking. If they could do it themselves, we wouldn't be talking, right? And then what's going to happen if they don't fix it? And once you, like, guide someone through that process and lay it all out, there's going to be pressure to do something, but it's not coming from me. It's coming from them, because now they're now aware of the cost of doing nothing. Which is not to say, though, that you never have to convince someone to do what's best for them, which is another point to talk about. Like, in sales, it's like, if you're committed to doing what's best for people, what's best for your prospect, then you can remove all that guilt of, like, pressuring people. But I have definitely had to talk some people into doing what's best for them, because if we did what's best for us all the time, we wouldn't need personal trainers. we wouldn't need, like, those meal delivery services and like all sorts of things. And so I will absolutely, like, call someone out and say, look, you just told me you wanted this, and this, and now you're balking. Why?
Yeah, it's because it's not going to happen if you keep going the way that you're going.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And it's about, like, transforming concerns. That's, like, what my coaches talk about too, right? So, like, if money wasn't an issue, would you still want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is yes, then, like, we can work with that.
Yep.
Like, if it's an aligned no, then I'm like, okay.
Yep.
If it's not about the money, or not about, you know, or if they've given me some other cue, right? Then
it's like,
it is what it is. But if it's just like, if it's just the money, like, let's dig into that a little bit, because
it's never the money. Like, people always find a way to do what they really want to do.
Exactly.
And
people are resourceful.
Yeah. And I just had this conversation with someone, actually, where I was like, she had all these blockers, and I kind of called her on it, and she said, I don't know what to say. And I said, well, when people don't have they say they don't have the money, it's usually one of three things. It's like, I really need to do this, but I don't have the money. Okay, great. We can figure that out. Right? Or it's, this seems great, but I don't have the money, and I just give up. Right? In that case, I can't help them anyway, because they've already given up.
They've already given up.
That's no good. And then it's like, I don't really want to do this, and I'm using I don't have the money as, like, an excuse. Right. So you have to figure out which one of those things it is.
And honestly, for, like, the work that you do, where you're, like, co-creating and you're teaching somebody about how to create content that's an asset that they can take with them, if they don't have a desire, is that your ideal client?
No. And I have straight, like, just not even offer. I won't even go there. I'll just be like, you know what, this isn't. Yeah. I had a call with a guy, shortest call ever. I think it was like 3 minutes. The first thing he said was, well, I don't do anything unless there's a guarantee, like anything in life. And I was like, good luck with life, man. like you might not wake up tomorrow. There's nothing,
there's
like,
no
you
guarantee.
tell me something that's guaranteed, so.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's the best thing about sales calls, is that you get a real sense of, like, who your people are.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
it's a great weeding out process. And so how do you keep the pipeline going?
Content.
I'm teeing them up for you, girl. Come on, like,
no,
get
I
it out,
just,
you know.
so here's the thing, and this is what I love about, what I love about what I do now is that I talk to a lot more people, and I'm at the point where I can pretty much take anything, like I can have a conversation almost every day, and then I can take that and I can turn it into content, because, and I had this conversation earlier today too, like, it's like when they say in politics, like when you write a letter to your politician, and it means that if one person took the time to do that, it means like 1,000 other people thought it or had that problem, right?
Exactly.
So the same is true about your prospects in your market. If you talk to one person and they tell you some kind of struggle that they're going through, then that's probably broadly true across your market. And then you can use that in your marketing, and you can take their words. And so I'm sure, like every time I send out an email, I'm like, oh, I wonder if this client is going to see this. Can we just talked about this like an hour ago?
I know, but like it totally resonates though, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it makes me crazy when I would talk to people and I'm like, how many times have you said that? And it's like over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, maybe you should write about it. Like, and this isn't even my bailiwick, right? Like, but it's like, come on, like there's gold there.
Yeah.
You know, or it should be part of your program, or it should be something that you offer. It should be, you know, when you look at all that stuff, right? And you're doing it over and over again as part of your expertise, like,
then you got to put it out there.
Put it out there.
Yep. And the problem though is that people will start to do that and they won't see results right away, and so they'll stop.
Right.
So this is this is what I'm dealing with my clients now, is like I now think of them as like I'm herding these little kittens, right? So every week they're like, what about this shiny? What about chatbots? I'm like, nope.
No, we don't do that.
Go create content and have conversations.
That was last week's podcast where we talked about chatbots.
And which are like chatbots are great, I'm sure, but if you haven't mastered the basics, you can't have a chatbot. Like, if you haven't gone out and mastered your messaging enough to get clients organically, you can't scale it. You can't. What are you going to scale? Like, you have to have something that works before you can scale it. And so getting people to understand that you have to fall in love with the process and you have to keep doing the things. Like, I have had people come to me and they're like, they've gone through and like gone back and read, you know, a year's worth of posts. But if I hadn't been posting, they would have nothing to find.
Nothing
and so and so it's like you can't. It's like this iceberg, and it's all your lag indicators, right? Your results are just under the surface, and you don't see them until suddenly they're there. But you just have to keep going.
Well, and I do a lot of work on change, and I've explained this a couple times today, actually, how everyone thinks change is this linear process, right? It's just I'm going to immediately see results. It's great, instant gratification. But that's not how change works at all. You know, it means it's gradual, but the trajectory is more like this. Mm-hmm. So you have to keep going and be consistent, and then people are like, oh, that's for real. Okay, and now I'm following, mm-hmm. and then it shoots up. It's kind of like a sales process. You have to have, they say, on average, like 9 touch points.
Yep.
So if you're just one and done and saying that didn't work and moving on to the next thing, you're missing a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, and one thing I tell my clients all the time, because some of them followed me for a year and a half before we ended up working together, but then they're like, why aren't people buying? Like now. And I'm like, well, look how long it took you.
Exactly.
So you got to stay out there. So yeah, how you get that opportunity volume? Consistency.
Absolutely.
People know you're the real deal. So, and it's tough. Like, you just have to love the process, as my coaches always say, which I love writing and creating content. And I'm at a point now where I'm emailing like twice a day. Like I have more content and more value than I have time to give it. I'm like, no, I can't. Okay, I can't do 3 emails a day, so I got to wait till tomorrow to say that. And once you start talking to your audience a lot, I think is when that floodgate can open, because you're like, oh, wait, there's all these problems I could be making people aware of, helping them solve, and like getting them to the table to have a conversation.
Absolutely. And a trick that I've learned and something that I've been doing a lot lately is I'll be having, like, I'll have thoughts and I just start recording them and then I'll transcribe it. Like, if I'm feeling super cramped, like, and then I can just take those thoughts and make them into a whatever, as quickly as I can. You're like an artist with like going live. Like, that's kind of like, there was a time when we first met, that was like your spirit animal. You were like going live every day. I think you'd like given yourself a challenge.
Oh, I was doing a video every day.
It was like a video a day, and then it was when you started really getting, I think, really pretty heavy into content creation. So what do you say to people who are like, I can't do a video?
Yeah, I mean, at one point you couldn't walk or tie your shoes or drive a car either. So,
So
you can
true.
probably do all this. I mean, again, I just went through this. So one thing I tell my clients is I have them go live inside of our group. I'm like, look, this is a safe space. Like, come in and practice. And so a couple of them did, and it was great. Like, it was great content. And then, like, the next day or two, they were going live on their profile, live on their pages, getting, like, I think they got like 400, comments or likes on this one video. And you just have to do it. And you can, if you're struggling to do video, you can practice and you can be like, this one's for me. And you don't have to go live. You can just turn on your video camera and you can do a video, and then you can trash it.
Yeah, I think that when I started, I would set the preferences on the video to only me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would decide later if I wanted to share it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of like when it started. And then now I go and I'll be like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I don't care. I just leave it. Because, like, whatever. Like, I get started and stop. And I just recorded a podcast interview, and 10 minutes in I realized my microphone wasn't on, so then we had to like go back. So I mean, we all make mistakes is the point. The point is we all make mistakes, we all do dumb stuff, but if I didn't keep trying.
And the person who makes like 30 videos in 30 days is gonna totally outstrip the person who makes one video a month,
right?
Like, because they're gonna get so much better, so much quicker, and they're gonna get so much more attention and engagement. And so the Active Growth podcast has and blog has amazing resources about this. There's a great post called the dry stretch, which is like why most entrepreneurs fail, and it talks about that curve. It's like this, nothing's happening, and then whoo, it's so true.
I mean, you just rock it up, and that's the thing that's so frustrating is so many people quit.
Yep.
Before they reach the pot of gold or whatever. So.
And you get the most resistance right before you win. And if you don't know that going in, then you're like, oh, everything wants to kill me, and like, why am I even doing this? And you'll quit. But don't quit, because that means you're getting really close.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you think about like rocket ships going back into the atmosphere. That is not an easy process. Like, you're re-entering the atmosphere, and you're like, I don't know, am I going to make it? Like, and they wonder if they're going to burn up.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, that's the process.
And that's being an entrepreneur.
And then they come in, right? And then they come in and they're like, "Oh, I'm home," and they, land the rocket, crash into the ocean, whatever it is that the process is, and then it's like happiness. Hug your family, kiss a baby. I don't know, but
or a puppy,
You want to talk about your pup?
I need to do more puppy marketing. Actually, when he was little. And I first got him, I was doing a lot of puppy marketing, and that started because when they were born, or no, we went to visit them when they were 4 weeks old. We went to visit the litter, and so there's a photo of Jess and I in just like a puppy pile of 4-week-old puppies, and I put that picture everywhere. Like, there was no Facebook group, business, personal. Like, there was nobody who didn't see that picture. And I got some great business relationships out of that photo, people who like puppies. And then, we start talking business. And so, I think I'm doing a webinar actually with my buddy Dina, she commented, she messaged me, I think it was like, oh my God, puppies. So, puppy marketing.
Hey man, I love my dog. Booker.
I tried to, Booker's great. Yeah. I tried to do a Facebook Live with Obi though one time. A disaster. Don't work with animals, man.
I've tried. That's why they have trainers for that,
They're prima donnas. He was still in like the puppy biting, like shark teeth.
Oh God, those puppy teeth are so strong and
he was
sharp.
Just like, it was
stabby. Kind of like your earlier comment on one of my posts. If I work at home too much, I'm stabby, and it's like those puppy teeth are like stabby.
Well, because my office, like, it can only stay clean for so long, and then
I know. Well, we don't have like we don't have masses of people watching this right now, but hey, if you're watching it, do you have any questions? We haven't seen any comments come up. Just
I feel like I see one smiley
eyeball.
face comment.
Was it a smiley face or a laughing? It's a laughing comment.
Face.
I don't know what we did that was funny, but it's cool. So you have any questions, let us know. We didn't see any when we posted the event, so I don't know.
Wow, now I'm watching us.
You're watching us watch.
Ooh, and Leslie's watching.
Hey, Leslie.
So I just met Leslie in a online networking group called The Veranda, and they have like monthly meetings, and it's this big group of women on Zoom, and we like talk. There's like a presenter, and then they have breakouts, and we do some mastermind stuff. And so yeah, Leslie and I. So Leslie, if you have any questions, let us know.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great group.
It's kind of, I love my favorite question from the podcast. It's like, how do you find all these mentors? And you're like, the internet.
Just
almost like, have you heard of it, Jen? Yes, I have.
No, I don't. I honestly could not tell you. I'm gonna ask Peyton now. I'm gonna be like, go into Infusionsoft and tell me when I came into the orbit of. Because now I kind of want to know. Because I don't remember, but like suddenly it was everywhere. So yeah, like pay attention to your Facebook ads, and then click on the ones you like. That's my suggestion.
It's so funny because I've been getting their ads for, it must be a year off and on, and then you made the introduction, and I was like, oh, these guys, yeah,
I know.
I'm already in their feed.
Yeah. Well, so another buddy of mine, we caught up. We hadn't talked for like 2 years, and he was like, wow, really? White guys? You're following these white guys? Like, I thought you were done with them. And I was like, yeah, but they're good. You know what they're talking about.
Straight white guys that are former ministers? Is that the, hey,
mm-hmm. Wow. I know. They know their shit.
They know their shit. What difference does it make, right?
Yeah, well, you know, there is a bar, but they know their shit, and they're actually really nice dudes.
That's cool. Do you have anything?
And like they're a little irreverent. Like if you follow their stuff, it can be a turnoff. And they do that on purpose, actually. So
they do it.
So this is actually a good marketing point. Is that people try to be bland and they try to like kind of tone things down or whatever because they don't want to offend people, and that's the opposite of what you should do because it's as important or more important to drive away the people who are not your fits as it is to attract the people who are.
Absolutely.
I mean, if anyone's ever been in a bad relationship and knows how, whether it be it like love life, client, whatever, and knows like that ball of dread from having to interact with that person, like you must keep that out of your life and your business at all costs. And so if you listen to, you know, somebody's stuff and you're like, whatever, then that's fine. That means it's not for you.
Right. I mean, that's part of of doing the Facebook Lives, of having a podcast, of getting out there and doing stuff. It's not just it's to attract like people. And then it also, some people fall away, but okay, that's cool.
So do you remember when we met? The thing that I told you, the first thing I thought when you told me what you did?
No, I don't remember that.
So you were doing like tech. You were more focused on tech, I think, at that point, like helping people make good tech decisions. Just like basically, I try to get people ready and then send them to people like you because I was still making websites at the time.
Right.
And I was like, oh, like a fluffer.
Kind of.
Because that's where my brain went. And so I sent that in an email yesterday to tell people about this live because I'm like, if you don't know by now that like I'm really a 12-year-old boy, you should know that before we work together.
Which I think I was like, I'm not even sure what that means.
Okay, well, I'm not going to explain it here on the live.
I think that's a really good idea. I think I've got enough about it.
Yeah,
I think I figured it out.
Just Google that,
but
carefully.
But for me, that's why I work for myself. I don't have to be as careful. Oh no, never mind. But for people who don't know, like my job before would be, I guess, the fluffer, but a tech translator. I mean, that's what I did when we met. It was right after I left my corporate job, which was basically helping non-tech people talk to the techies. And I was basically doing the bridge and doing all the project management and leading really large-scale initiatives.
Right.
And then, and I still do that for people sometimes. I mean, that's still a need, even at like a solopreneur level.
Wow,
It's
wait.
The central
So
core.
you moved on to focus on something else, but you can still go back and use your old skills?
Yeah, people don't seem to realize
Yeah!
that. Yeah, that's the thing.
I've had that conversation a lot this week, too.
Yeah, no, you totally
Oh my God,
can.
I can't, like, say that I work with these people because what about all those other people? It'll be okay.
You know what it is? The more narrow and defined your niche is, the more attractive you become. Period.
Yep.
And then, so like for me, I'm focusing on helping women, but if there's a guy that needs help that's aligned with my values that I feel, and it works out, I'll help you.
There you go.
I've helped men before, whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter, but that's the thing. Like, I mean, there are people in my circles who have very, very, very specific niches, and they make more money than they ever did.
They're like
when they wanted to appeal,
level.
when they wanted to appeal to everybody.
Then
you appeal to nobody.
Yep.
So you have to be somewhat. I mean, you don't have to be controversial, although that may help for some people. But you have to be somewhat like narrowing it down. Otherwise, people are like, I don't know who she's talking to.
Yeah. And it took me forever to, like, I knew this long before I actually did it, and it took me forever because I thought it had to be an industry. I thought I had to be like, well, I want to work with lawyers. I don't.
No.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I have some amazing lawyer people, but I thought it had to be like an industry. But it doesn't have to be an industry. It just has to be something you can define a group. And so for me, it's mission-driven, service-based businesses because when I look back at the people that I worked with that I felt like I could help the most and had the most fun with, that's who it was. And it didn't matter if it was, attorneys, bookkeepers. Now I have clients who are end-of-life doulas, which I didn't even know was a thing.
It's a thing.
I know. Now I know. The more you know, which I wish I'd known it was a thing like, 10 years ago. But yeah. So your niche does not have to be an industry, but you have to.
I didn't know that you were a niche person. We say niche.
I don't know how to say it, and I don't know whether it's Zapier or Zapier. Can you clear either of these up for me?
So I will say that, like, I say Zapier, but, like, then you create Zaps, so it makes more sense that it's called Zapier. But when I actually say it, like, out in the wild, like right now, I say Zapier, which doesn't make sense.
Which, if you don't know, is a tool. It's a software service that helps you connect software tools to other software tools without having to code.
Which, is nice because you don't always want to have to do things programmatically.
Yeah.
I
feel like
just sign into a couple things and
there it is.
And there it is.
Yeah. And the funny thing to me is, like, when I'll do lessons and I'll teach people, like I did a lesson for my group about how to use Zapier, whatever, to connect things. And people freak out. Like, people who aren't technical, even if it's point and click and cut and paste, and they go into this mode where, like, it's tech. And so they've already decided that it's going to be hard, which just, maybe it is hard. Like, the great thing about the lesson was that it didn't go smoothly, which I loved, because I kept all of the stuff in where I'm like, oh, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Okay, I have to go figure it out. Oh, I have to contact support. Okay, support told me this. Okay. Like, I kept all that in there, because I hate the things where, everything is perfect, and then when it's not perfect for you, it's, But if you're someone who's non-technical and you're trying to go do something like Zapier or whatever, just breathe, like maybe meditate for a few minutes beforehand. Just follow the instructions, reach out to support if it doesn't work out. Like, I think the mindset is half the battle when you're going into something like that, because when you actually come down to it, like, so much of tech has been made copy and paste and point and click that it's kind of bananas. So.
Well, and so I have a funny story about this. The onion goggles. Oh my gosh. Hi, Leslie. Hey, Leslie. Glad we're cracking you up over here.
People really key into those onion goggles. I think I'm going to have to wear those
all the time.
All
the time. No, I mean, I want to see them here.
Okay.
On the daily.
I'll bring. I'm definitely going to have to do a live in the onion goggles, because Leslie, you are the the fourth person to be like, but the onion goggles. I should put a link. We should put a link.
We should put a link to onion goggles.
I'm going to put a link in the comments.
See, when I was in Peace Corps, and we didn't have, onion goggles are really like a first world solution, right? So what we learned, well, in Peace Corps, if you just put like bread in your mouth, it absorbs. It. So you kind of have the bread hanging out of your mouth, which is not very attractive, but it does help. So there you go.
Whereas the onion goggles are
super attractive.
They're like. I was told the match, like putting a match.
I bet that would work too. So Leslie has a question. What's the best way to start automated emails?
Well, I like to use ActiveCampaign in terms of like tools. And so I still have my opt-in. That's like all the tools that I use to manage tech, and ActiveCampaign is featured prominently in that little mini course. So you can go to carveldigital.com/tools, and you can grab that. The best way to start automating emails is to figure out, to plan before you actually go into a tool and start building. So What is it you need to automate? Is it onboarding new subscribers? Is it onboarding clients? And what is the sequence that people need to go through? Like, what information do they need to get? What's the order they need to get it in? And I will usually just open up a Google Doc and write out all those emails before I ever go into a tool. And I'll plan out, here's the subject line, here's the actual email, and here's when that needs to go out, and then it will go in.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people don't realize that the most important piece of any tech project has absolutely nothing to do with tech.
Exactly.
It's all about sitting down and planning out what the heck you want to have happen. And it doesn't even have to be technical the way you write it out. You just need to know what you want to have happen. And then you can start thinking about what tools to use or not use. And I also have a love affair with ActiveCampaign. Where you and I differ is I also think some people can do MailChimp and it's fine.
I think some people make a mint using MailChimp. I just don't prefer it.
Right. So. But yeah, I also have my list of tools, which is at jenmcfarland.com/picks. But I think you'll find that our two lists are pretty similar. Honestly, I mean, I think that when you've been working as long as we have in things, like then we find all the people who are good in research and have helped a lot of people gravitate toward the same central set of tools that really help people the most. So, did you post the onion goggles? Is that what that is?
Okay. To give the people what they want.
We aim to please.
I guess I should post my opt-in as well. I'll put that in the comments. Just giving the people what they want.
We just give the people what we want. Yeah. What they want here. I don't know. Are there any other questions? I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah.
What else? So we promised we would talk about tech. I think we've done a little bit of that. We're talking about sales.
Yep.
Talk about content.
Yep. Talking about marketing.
We still just have puppies. I mean, is that it? That little snippet? That's it? That's all you're going to say?
So Barn Hunt is coming up this Saturday. So Barn Hunt is like you go and they have stacked up like hay bales and stuff, and they make tunnels, and they hide rats inside of tubes, very strong tubes. The rats are not harmed; they're fine. They hide the rats, and then you go in with your dog, and your dog runs around and finds the rat, and you, as the handler, have to correctly determine when your dog has found the rat. So you have to know what your dog's tells or their signals are. And so we started doing this with Obi, and we took a 3-hour workshop, which was great because we got to do this progression where he really like learned what the game is all about. And then the first time we took him, he was 6 months and 12 days old, and there's different levels of titles. So there's instinct, and there's novice, and there's open, and like all this. So he's got his instinct and his novice title in one weekend.
That's awesome.
Over 2 days. And now he has one qualifying run for open, and so I'm taking him this weekend for Barn Hunt, and we're going to see if we can finish off his open title. And he's only 8 months old.
So my dog doesn't have that kind of skills. I'm just saying.
So, and
my dog is very good at playing.
You know what?
That's it. That's a super great dog skill. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
my favorite. I'll post it in the chat. But my favorite picture is I think it was the last time you saw him. It was the last time I brought him here, and he had to stand on me and I took a selfie of it, and it looks like I am so angry, and it's mostly that I'm trying to figure out how to take a selfie with a dog standing on my lap, and I'm like, he's not coming back.
Yeah.
But but I love him too
but
much.
you
He
should
loves
bring
being
back.
here.
Yeah, no.
But
you
yeah,
gotta
he's
have
not
him
going to do a
here.
barn hunt.
Yeah, our
not
dog
his
is, we're.
You also
We're a
had
little-
something amazing though, where you were like, what was it that you were testing out? Where like he knows that he's supposed to go in his kennel after eating. Is that what it was? What
so
was
that was okay. So our trainer she came to the house. We had her over to the house for a couple of private sessions, and she just casually mentioned, she's like, anything can be a cue, environmental cues. So you can teach your dog, when I go to the fridge, instead of coming up in and like nosing in, go to your bed. So our cue, an environmental cue, is when we sit down to eat, go chill out in your crate.
Oh, that's nice.
And so that's what he does. We haven't progressed to when we're cooking, don't surf the counters. We're still working on that. But he's 8 months old, so it's pretty impressive. He's a pretty impressive dude. He has a lot of accomplishments for such a young lad.
He really does.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and I'm gonna put his Instagram in the.
Yeah, put his Instagram in the chat. I've thought about posting some promos for the podcast on Instagram and being like, "Isn't Obi's mom smart?" And then like tagging Obi in it.
Yes. Why did you do that? You have to do
I haven't
it.
done it yet. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Please
So.
make that happen.
I kind of wanted to clear it just in case you'd be like, "What? What's this, man?" Like
Puppy marketing. You don't
Puppy marketing.
ever have to ask
It's a
permission
thing.
for that. Yeah.
for reals.
All right.
Well, thanks
Cool.
for being on.
Thanks for
And,
having me.
Yeah,
This was so fun.
was
This is
super
so much
fun.
more fun than talking by
to
myself.
yourself.
I know.
Maybe we could do it again sometime.
We have to.
I love
again.
it. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
All
And
right.
check out the Third Paddle podcast.
Thanks, Leslie. For
And thanks
asking
for
questions.
hanging out. And so we'll put the link to the podcast in. And this is also going to be available on YouTube and jenmcfarland.com because I put that automation in. That's some magic. And check us out later. We'll be back.
Cool. Ciao, y'all.
Ciao.